Hi everybody. So it's been a bit since I've done a video at all. It feels like it's been forever since I've done anything in front of the camera, and I felt like I had to do a video like this before I do the content that I want to do next, because I think that it'll kind of give people a little bit more insight as to why I'm doing the content that I'm going to be doing next. First and foremost, I consider myself to be somebody who is pretty balanced on my channel. I don't think I always get it 100% right all the time. I never came on here thinking that I do, or that I'm perfect in any way, shape, or form. But I think I've always tried to do my best with being balanced in my perspective, balanced with the things that I'm talking about. And at any rate, I always had people coming up against me here or there for different reasons, right? And I'm sure that that's still going to happen. And I'm not going to be surprised if it happens again when I start to do my upcoming content. I have a feeling it's going to piss off a lot of people. And the main reason why I want to discuss the things that I want to discuss is because I think that what we do a lot as Latin people on social media is that we always kind of talk about other groups and what other groups do to us, right? So it's aggressions from whites against Latin people, or aggressions from blacks against Latin people, right? And I've done videos on all of those things. I have, and I've had all types of pushback from all types of people, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's videos about me circulating. I wouldn't be surprised if there's people still gossiping, talking shit, whatever. That's what people do. That doesn't surprise me. But I figured that one of the things that I don't hear us talking about enough, are the things that we do to each other, and how we don't treat each other well. And the only time that we tend to discuss the things that we do to each other tends to be race related. So for example, white Latinos don't accept Afro Latinos as Latinos, like those types of topics, like that's forever ongoing, right? That's just, that's pretty common. Okay. Like we hear about that crap all the time. And, one of the things that I will say is, growing up in the environment that I did, I saw white Latinos, Afro Latinos, beige Latinos, green Latinos, purple Latinos, tan Latinos. Okay, and I've seen us in all shades, whether they be pedophiles, whether they be men who are they're abusers, especially domestic violence. Like that's huge. And luckily for me, I can say that, thank God, I've never been in a relationship like that. I have seen it growing up, I'm not gonna lie, and I knew a lot of people who grew up in households like that, and we don't talk about things like that. And there's certain things, I'm going to kind of just focus on the domestic violence thing for a little while. One of the things that I always wanted to, like, if I did get into this topic of discussion, yes, common sense, which common sense is not that common. Common sense, we all know that domestic violence crosses all racial barriers, ethnic barriers, socioeconomic barriers. We know that already. This is specific to Latin people, though. And then I'm keeping this with us right now, okay? So if anybody comes to the channel and they're like, other people do this too. Like, yeah, I know. Everybody knows. We know that, right? And then I can get into the whole, that's the argument with the machismo and all of that stuff, right? And I know that the minute that I say that and I use that word, that's going to be triggering for some people. And these things shouldn't be triggering to anybody if they don't, number one, participate in that. And number two, if they don't support anyone who participates in that. Now, if there are men who come to the channel, and even women who come to the channel and you guys get all defensive about this, that's already giving red flags right there. Okay, that means that you support it, whether you're a man or a woman. And I say women too because the women in our community do support this stuff. Let me explain how. One of the main reasons why there are women in our community that do support it is because they stay in these marriages, in these dysfunctional relationships. And to say that that's not true is bullshit. There's women that'll just stay with their mouths shut. They don't want to leave that relationship. The husband could be, beating her left and right, and on top of that, cheating on her left and right. And she wants to stay in that relationship. She wants to be the competition. She wants to beat out the competition. She wants to be the number one. And she somehow, I don't know what she believes, that she thinks that miraculously one day this man is going to wake up one day and stop beating her ass and stop cheating on her. So I do put a lot of the responsibility on the women in our community too, because they do support the dysfunction in these types of situations. So I'm not going to just put the responsibility on the men. Okay. So that might surprise some guys that hear that type of stuff. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But it definitely takes two. And especially when you're, living in a country like this, where trust me, I know how dangerous those types of relationships are. I know how toxic those relationships are. I know that men kill their wives, kill their girlfriends left and right in relationships like that when the women do try to leave sometimes. And I understand that, where there's that fear, right? But then there also comes a point where, especially where you have children, it's okay, when are you going to take the responsibility to, playing your part in the situation and getting yourself out of that situation for your children? Because there's women that can get out of the... Let's talk about the ones that they know that they have places to go. They know that they have resources. They know that there's resources out there. They don't feel the fear that this guy's going to kill them, but they want to stay there. They want to stay in that dysfunction. How about those people, right? And that exists. And again, never discussed. People, for some reason, don't like to talk about that. And then the men that promote it, the men that stand back, that don't do anything, that have women going through this in their families and they just sit back and they don't stop anything. Or the men that have friends that do this and they don't stop it, right? They just sit back, they watch, and they don't say nothing. And right now, I figured I'm putting this clip in because this is Big Pun. And people don't like to address I'm going to say the elephant in the room when it comes to Big Pun. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it in that way. That's just a fucking hilarious coincidence. Sorry about that. But, we talk about how much of a legend he is. And he is, how much he's done for the Latin community, right? But then when it comes to this topic, for some reason, everybody's shut. Everybody's quiet. People don't know how to react to this. There was a whole case between Pun's ex-wife. I know I'm getting into celebrities now, but I'm using this as an example because it just popped into my mind, and it's a perfect example of someone who did, in a way, support this, right? And it was Fat Joe, because Fat Joe even said himself that Big Pun was a great father. He was a great husband. He was a great guy. And he never addressed the abuse that Big Pun's wife was facing, right? And then on top of that, where I don't even want to get into that whole court case with him and Liza Rios. I don't even want to get into that, okay? She ended up winning, and she won for a reason, okay? And I know that there's a lot of people that are not going to like with me, me saying that, and I don't fucking care. I don't care, okay? She won, and she won for a reason, okay? She put up a good fight. Kudos to her for that shit, okay? She pretty much, I can tell by the way the case panned out, she got a whole lot less than what was deserved to her. And I can just tell that, okay? But point is it's things like that where, you have, I'm using somebody like Big Pun as an example because he was such a legend. He is such a legend. He is such an integral part to our quote unquote culture, which is simultaneously, there's a praise for it, but then there's also a demonization of it too, because it's quote unquote black culture, right? So, he gets the praise, but at the very same time, simultaneously, the very same group that he's a part of, Puerto Ricans from New York, are simultaneously shunned for participating and enjoying that culture. Quote unquote, also our culture. Right? So that's a whole other layers to that shit there. Okay? And we don't want to address the elephant in the room, because then that tarnishes his legend, his name. And then that's what we battle with, because he's no longer here, right? And I know that I'm trying not to make this just about him. I just feel like his case is a very good example, and his case is a very good example because it was public, right? But not just that, there are so many people who really found every way that they could possible to demonize his wife because she spoke up about what he used to do to her. Okay? And that is also our way of participating. And again, this is the men and the women, how we participate in letting this type of dysfunction continue within our community. That I spoke about wanting to get into topics regarding, women getting raped across the border and stuff like that, which I will. I'm definitely going to do that. But there's other things that I want to discuss. Now, am I going to say that my entire channel is going to just go in this trajectory now? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to see where this takes me. Right now, this is what, my heart is being pulled to do. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's just how this channel is going to be from now on. So if I feel, compelled to speak about certain things, that's just basically what I'm going to do. Okay? Because in the end, on the bigger scheme of things, even when I came on here, a long time ago, when I got into the colorism topics and things like that, in the bigger scheme of things, that stuff is so irrelevant to the other stuff that I want to talk about. It is. Unfortunately, it just is. Point blank, period. Yeah, it just is. And it also proves, again, like a lack of privilege within our community, because I feel like I'm telling you, like, I have stories for days. So I don't like to always talk about stories like that, because, and then, I do my best to like never mention people's names and stuff like that, because, I never wanted to be that I'm like taking shots from anybody for where I grew up or anything, which I never would, I have no reason to. But them growing up in similar dysfunctions and seeing the same things and growing up in that environment at that time, I'm not going to demonize those people. Okay? So I'm not going to do that. And again, this, bringing up Big Pun and bringing up his wife is not to demonize Big Pun. It's not to demonize. It's not to throw dirt on his name, and it's not to throw dirt on, his legacy. But I do feel that his case is a very good example, a very good public example of how we as a community do not step up when it comes to certain abuses, and domestic violence is one of those abuses, right? And then when I did the video, when I basically broke down Maya Poinsetto versus Alex Santiesteban, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, forgive me. And I use that as an example because of where we put our outrage. And, what that man did to that boy, that deserved the outrage that Soho Karen got. And it didn't get it. At all. At all. You barely heard anything. We didn't hear anything from our community. At all. And not a peep from anybody, from any part. We didn't say shit. It disgusts me. It does. I don't know how else to say it. And even this, with me like addressing this whole thing, and I brought up big pun or whatever. I know that that's probably going to get a lot of backlash, and people are not going to like me saying that. Well, fuck you, get off my channel. Because I'm not here like insulting anybody. I'm not putting down anybody. I'm saying that as a group, there are a lot of things that we have that are really dysfunctional within our community, within the Latin community. And yes, I know that in this particular case, I'm using Puerto Ricans from New York, which in a way is good, It's good because it's a good example of when I say that there's certain things within my group of people that I can't stand, that I hate. This is one of those things. This is one of those things. This is one of those things that makes me want to say like, hell no. No, I don't want to be associated with you. I want nothing to do with you. I want to stay the hell away from you. Sounds bad. I know that it sounds bad. But that's how bad that dysfunction seems to me. Okay? And again, like if people get like, hypersensitive over this, you shouldn't. I side-eye anybody who defends any of this, anybody in any way, shape, or form, or tries to minimize it in any way, shape, or form. And you got people who are minimizing the femicide in Latin America, which cracks me up, Yeah, so this video is, I think I'm like almost 20 minutes in. Yeah, I'm going to see where this goes. Again, this is just what I feel compelled to speak about now. I'm kind of one of those people that I get bored with certain topics, and people can call it inconsistent all they want. Fuck it. I guess it's inconsistent, but there's certain core values that I'm consistent with. And to me, that's what's important. I think that's it. I think I'm going to go for now. Yeah. Stay tuned for the next videos, guys. Oh, and before I go, thank you to the people who subscribed. Like, I'm getting new subscribers. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't, put my information out there. I don't really promote my channel. I'm not like, hey, go sub to me. Hey, go, I'm just not me. If people find me, you find me. You don't, you don't. So, yeah, thank you to the new people who subscribed. Hopefully you stick around. If you hear something you don't like and you don't want to stick around, that's just as good. All right. With that, I'm going to go. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.